stuff too, which is and it's still, some of the stuff is still pretty much like nutrition.
It's like when I call 911, T-1 Center, he's Texas Road, it's okay. What was that thing that was supposed to be? We had the center, it's kind of Oblock on some other stuff. They changed the name of the school, Center, Oblock, same thing. So 911 has some stuff up there. It's still, because, well, it's like they have a call history, and they can go back to a call history if something comes in.
Now the names on.
When they put O-Block in, it takes them to
Yeah.
O-Block call history. So that's just something that. So that's why I always say 201 tickets.
Can never delete the past. As much as you think you
Oh,
don't worry about it.
Me. My coach is not make it, so
Okay, then you have the show.
I am here. Yeah, no, our head coach is
Yeah, I'm surprised. He's over soccer. So how old is he?
Yeah, I called us now today just to confirm that most of this person will be so
Yeah, these are, we did a certification for all of them.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you.
The green ones, they said yes, they're coming. I've never heard from the
I
person.
wasn't
For Chase. Did he tell you to send the water?
Yeah, Tyler. Oh, there is a car.
There's no, yeah.
I just listed on that.
That's not
We
weird.
stood it
It
for
did his time, and then we did that, and then the center not able to attend. So these two nights,
Regular now.
but you can have this.
People love it.
There's a certificate for everyone, just in case, for some reason, we are
I think we have a good point.
And,
Or is it school?
Yeah.
I know what's necessary.
yeah, if you want,
Fingers crossed.
Hopefully
Hopefully it's as easy as, it wasn't so easy, but hopefully we'll get better this year.
Going into the individual part of it.
yeah, yeah.
But.
Yeah, and you, I was gonna say, you would hand them out.
I still do ticket for the foot tracking.
Oh, the you built it, that would benefit up
However you guys want, it doesn't matter. Just-
No, I have before.
Because I figured, I'm the same, they're gonna set.
I did, no, it sounds.
Oh, no,
It
no.
actually is, but.
It doesn't matter. However,
And usually,
These
even,
no
even
seats.
if they're not
Few
here.
campuses I have that for.
Correct.
Hard to change them.
Yes, this is the course we just.
I wanted to, I would
Yeah,
rather do that, sorry, or see what it's like, then put it in a big building.
Keep the coaches. And the parents are even said yes.
I would,
It's fixed, we can't keep going there, money, bill. I still don't like it. But I think it was because it was. We were looking
So do I just take over? We'll-
That was all. Then I remember confusing because I don't know maybe that much of what technology is. I remember talking to you, well, you can't have access. I'm not asking, I'm asking, do we have that? I don't know how this works. He's like, yeah. I don't know. So I was like, can you do this? And like I said,
Then
they're
you're decode.
big.
Yeah, usually the kids, and then they know who's either to, but you don't know.
I don't understand this. Said it to them.
Yeah,
So those are actually, I want to stick with those in, so.
No, just, you don't have to,
Just
we have,
That was back down, it, down hallway, back to the site, and back up. And that's, that it actually made me, I watched that video you found, and I think if I would have this into effect there, it would have been a lot easier.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what it does to the archives, but I do have it, I have it implemented.
That's-
Okay.
That's really cool. I pulled my.
You can create a camera
7 days.
Either like a little bit of chance on that.
Which we got the coyote running through. He keeps running. He's streaks across.
Is he big?
German Shepherds.
Yeah, that's what they do. Just have to bring it for this. I know.
He's
So
kind of the
it's
same
close.
whole 13.
I just,
He was just,
it's a little,
Recognition.
like, well, it's just,
Citizens comments, personnel, we don't talk about personnel in discussion. And then student achievements.
he just stays there, and I'm like, yeah.
Grants and
Yeah, sure.
donations, they usually do that, and also we're gonna talk about it. We have TV production resources, we might talk about a little bit.
So we have
Um, Student alternate placement,
because when it came out,
special education steering committee, we might talk
over
about.
the run,
There's a couple of things, TV production and the steering committee, we might talk about.
what did German Shepherd look like? It was kind of rusty brown.
And then-
Didn't have a black patch on it. You go look at the video. She's
well,
on
they're
the
not still. Cute, like,
Okay.
they really,
Boom, there it is.
cute about it.
As fast as he can down to the ball for it. And it's like, yep. It's not very
We actually had it before, figured for the other side of the program.
That one's taken. That one and the, where it covers the garden. They get that pink hue to them.
Yeah.
They're getting close.
I have two configured there, which is. So they need us over here, which. Or they dressing.
See, that's the. Because it's just students here. Well, they're not gyms.
I mean, that's how it's spelled, huh? Because there's that extra one in there. The N should be.
Did you see the stairwell to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
you gotta have them there. It's just so hard to get on, but that actually, that location's not too bad. I never did that before.
Oh, that's always the. I had to go up there.
So any of you don't hand it out, I'll just take back.
Because you go through the door.
And then when I
The
show up.
doors are closed. You can't sell things in gym too.
Okay.
Cut.
There's one.
That works.
Yeah.
A lot of the community that you change, honestly, my hours. It's.
It's 5 minutes, is it like,
It's.
Yeah, they're smart. They know where to go.
Just so you know. Okay. Hi. How are you? Long time to see you, Mr. Loretta. I didn't even think you existed anymore.
I'm a ghost.
He came out of the wizard cave.
You what?
He came out of the wizard cave.
The wizard.
You know he was
How are you?
Yeah, so it's, it's like, it's also.
New ones I would be
Yeah.
Just put two out here, actually. We'll try to fix some of these.
It's very nice, it doesn't have to, these are not good. They, but it just, I mean, that's just kind of the.
We didn't have that. We put on that too. We didn't put her, she would install it somewhere. Actually, we probably could put two of those. In your hall, except for your house. coming to the front, like, stuff to do, and also there's something you can see that. You got to do that, you get off.
Is there, do you still have one?
That's how our last year, we got books and one
Like, and then she's just like.
Middle school have the first set of doors, I don't know if we have the second.
No, because she yeah, it's, once you're in, it's right there.
But you're in the vestibule area. All the part we have to do.
I mean, you can touch it, but I mean, you can stop it. I won't let them say it.
So, like I said, the few things that we got on because they're not. And she got something like that,
I looked up and I was like, don't look at him, don't look at him. So I started laughing. Remind me of I never forget. I never forget.
They went downstairs.
Well, the day was nice. Yeah, so I had to look at it.
This goes to the Christmas.
So I mean, was drinking. I'm like, I think we have this. Figured out.
that'll be like starting.
Come on.
It's nice to do this.
It's done. Yeah, I'm the work. Looking at the job description, I'm going to revise this and stuff. Maybe some different wording in there. Parts I understand. They're on charge.
She wasn't even here today. Is it everyone's crashing?
I know that buses. You mean like the first game starting at 6?
Oh, I see about how
I mean, I'm.
Okay, let me quickly reach out to my coaches and then I'll let you know. Thanks. All right, bye.
Yeah, whatever you say.
Go in the
If you have outside education, our libraries, classrooms, outside this is outside. I know. I saw that. I like
Clear of that area. It's a nice, yeah. core, a lot of times hardware.
I'll still say things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a sentry box you can put on there. And it brings it in on generator.
My neighbor's got one. So they put it up, and then he can just go roll it out. And as soon as he puts it on, right, he can't
If I rate tool, I really believe it's under.
Yeah, and there's so much to it. Everything comes with a license now, though, which is kind of good. They need to start bundling it a little bit better, I think. Just for schools, like, obviously there's, yeah, but like, we're not going to use the majority of the components because obviously down the road, we have to implement different things. It's not expensive, because I remember paying for it. The door program and also saying we were tied up and all the time specific door program. When I started to research that, it's actually saved but you're not stuck.
And then that's like the rapper system. They're starting to try and match me with that. And I'm constantly getting stuff from them. Webinars, like different systems. They're behind.
Yeah. Which they've been in the game for a long time and now they're just trying to.
The worst thing for us is that ways
the new ones won't go and change over to green stream. It's a lot better than the picture. That would be the solution. That's what's good. It was. We found a way. It's going to work. This solution is better than more structural camera on the outside. Oh, yeah. Where'd it go? Which we have this I think it's
And he was fine with this, it just wants to the code.
This is why. Yeah. So how you have to play.
oh well, some things go, some don't.
They could do it later, which means they probably are So you figure, I mean, it's not a hard. I hate to add it or hard. It's really hard. So what do you think about it?
I just got to get the hardest part for those is the isn't necessarily the camera.
Correct.
Figure it out. There's a.
You have 4 babies, so I'll see if I can do that. Never have
Correct.
Like we should.
We got random rescue mats.
Yes.
We don't know how. That's a question.
Yes.
They just started this night. They have all kinds of
And I can, I mean, yeah, I can also, we can also wait. I mean, I can get a feeler out there, but I can also wait.
It should be a big.
I mean, if you're okay waiting that, then honestly, I'd rather if we can't do it. You guys are supposed to do it later. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know if you wanna, yeah. Yeah, just for the policy, I mean, and then we're gonna do it, well, why weren't they on the so, I mean, I don't know if you wanna, there's a possibility that we might reschedule, but I don't know if they want to work with them or just going to wait.
He's like, head on to spend like 3 days.
Yeah. No, like when they said later, like 4, 3, 5, 6, and 7. That's gonna be tough. Yeah, that's gonna be tough. Yeah. Yeah. So why don't we just wait until something about the transition? So they're not blindsided. Wait, keep it the same or reschedule. Yeah, I get it. Well, that's yes, because there's no practice time.
The only thing that you'll say.
Yep, 87. Okay. Yeah. And honestly, I had that feeling that was going to be the thing that used to be last year because I was late with me. I played college.
We're also.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be straight. I'm 100%. There's literally no chance for that. So that's for my experience. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, you'd like to buy, but like, we'll take a look at it. Yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Just so we're but so they find things like I sell. They also have thanks. But
Yeah, amen.
next week,
Oh, yeah. I hear you there. Yeah, so that
You're catching good stuff.
yeah, I try my best. I'm not late They're holding, yeah.
You too. Thank you. You're welcome. People say it's just yeah, seriously.
Jen, is Mr. Caligiuri on?
Nice to be in weather like we did today.
Okay, thank you. Yes, we do.
Sorry, my computer's down. Am I in? Sorry, guys.
All right, I'd like to call the October 24th School Board Combined Discussion and Action Meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Adams.
Here.
Dr. Anderson. Here. Mr. Caligiuri. Ms. Chudowitz.
Here.
Mr. Devine.
Here.
Mr. Hill.
Here.
Mr. Sokolsky.
Here.
Mrs. Stepnick.
I'm here.
Ms. Wetmore will not be joining us this evening. And Student Representative Ms. Scollart.
Here.
Thank you. The board met in executive session on October 24th, 2023 to discuss matters of litigation, safety, personnel, and real estate. At this time, we have some recognitions.
Yes, we're going to ask Mr. Drew Carpin, our athletic director, to step to the podium, please.
Thank you, appreciate it. So obviously as fall sports are winding down, we're starting to get some recognitions on some of the individuals and teams that have performed well. So one of the first teams that concluded their season that did really well, both as a team and individually, was the boys golf. So before I continue, can all of the boys golf members that are in attendance come on up? So here on the varsity team, we have Wes Flourish. Tim Pease. Daniel Caruso. Not here. Blaine Favreau. Is that right? Close enough. All right, Favreau. Tyler Pastor. Brian Crail. Also that on varsity that couldn't make it that made an impact on the season was Jonah Rush, Carson Yoka, Chase Urban, Luca Lapiana, and Emerson Hendry. Unfortunately, due to previous obligations, the coaches couldn't be here as well, but head coach Brian Dunaway and Keith Nonberg, the JV coach, did a phenomenal job with these boys this year, all the way from start to finish. And just wanted to kind of say a couple things that they did as a team. This was the second year in a row that they advanced to the playoffs, finished second in the section, went to the WPIAL semifinals. It was close between all the teams that were there on the cut line, so just missed it. But a lot of them are turning next year, so we have a lot of hopes that they'll get back there next year and even further. Individually, Wes Flourish and Tim Pease both qualified for the WPIALs. Wes won the section qualifier. Tim finished in 4th place, both of them qualifying, which was awesome. And then I'm sure all of you have seen and noticed how great Wes did this year. He, besides being the section qualifier and advancing to WPIALs, he was the last WPIAL qualifier to advance to the state tournament. And then from there, he pretty much dominated and led from start until the final hole, and then to sudden death, unfortunately, finished tied for second. But you talk about, he finished tied for second in the state out of thousands of golfers that started the season. So that's absolutely phenomenal. So if we could have a round of applause for Wes and his accomplishment. So that's 2 years in a row where he finished top 10 in the state, 9th last year and tied for second this year. So looking forward to next year with all of you guys. One's coming back and getting back to where we need to be and moving forward. So we appreciate it. Congratulations, guys, and thank you.
Do we have any seniors?
Any seniors? No, yeah, Carson's the only one not here, but all these guys will be
So
back.
they're all back next year?
They're all back next year.
Awesome.
Yep.
Justin, you just want to spin, let your families take pictures with Mr. Carpin next to you.
Sure. Good job, guys.
Thank you so much.
the next recognition, Ms. Fight, if you can come up. I'd like to just say a few words in regards to this. So, what was it, about 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
About 2 weeks ago. Ms. Fight let us in on a secret that was, I think we kept the secret pretty well in regards to WTAE Teacher of the Month, Ms. Billingsley at O Block Elementary. And we had an opportunity to go over and just observe the recognition. And I asked Ms. Macro if she wouldn't mind just sharing the video so that we can all just experience that moment again, because I will tell you in person, it was truly touching and well-deserved. So, Ms. Macro.
Welcome back. Well, we asked you, our wonderful viewers, to help us highlight the outstanding educators in local school districts. And our viewers stepped up because thousands of you replied.
And Janelle had the chance to reveal WTA's first Teacher of the Month. That's right, after an emotional letter from a local mother. This year's Teacher of the Month nominee takes us to the Plum School District.
Mrs. Billingsley, hi! I'm Janelle with WTAE. Surprise! So you have been nominated and chosen to be our WTAE Teacher of the Month. Okay, thank you.
Mrs. Christina Billingsley instantly teared up and smiled as she saw her students like Aubrey Duffy and hugged her mother Amanda, who sent in the nomination for the Autism Support Teacher.
It's really hard as a special needs parent. You don't really know what to expect with school. And we were very scared at first when putting Aubrey in school because she can't communicate with us like, you know, how her day was, what's happening and all that. And she went into Mrs. B's room and she's flourished. She's grown, she's learned so much. We're just so proud of her, and it comes down to the work that you've done with her.
Every teaching job is very challenging. A classroom of 25 students with 25 needs and 25 personalities, and so Mrs. Billingsley's days are not easy, but she comes back and ready to take on the next day happily every day.
With this $1,000 check for DonorsChoose.org, Mrs. Billingsley plans to use it to purchase sensory items or expand her sensory room in her classroom.
When they hired me in autistic support, I always say, like, I'll never go back. This is where I'm meant to be. Children are being born every day, whether they have exceptionalities or not. Every child needs a teacher to care about them, and I think it's extremely important for teachers to continue to stay in the profession to help kids grow to their full.
Okay, thank you for sharing that, Ms. Macro. I think you can all see how touching that was. Also, Ms. Fight, before you begin, you know, every month we have administrators coming up recognizing our faculty and staff, and we have exceptional faculty and staff in Plum Borough. But I also feel like, you know, we need to break protocol a little bit in regards to who can get up and speak in regards to the quality that is within the school district. So we also invited Ms. Duffy this evening to, if she would like to share a few words also. So Mrs. Fight, all yours.
Yes, so I wasn't sure how best to introduce Mrs. Duffy, so I'm going to read a story that's very special to our family, and I'm hoping that it resonates with the Duffys as well. So when you're going to have a baby, it's like planning a fabulous vacation trip to Italy. You buy a bunch of guidebooks, you make wonderful plans, the Colosseum, the Michelangelo David, the gondolas in Venice. You may learn some handy phrases in Italian. It's all very exciting. After months of eager anticipation, the day finally arrives. You pack your bags and off you go. Several hours later, the plane lands. The stewardess comes in and says, "Welcome to Holland." Holland, you say? What do you mean Holland? I signed up for Italy. I'm supposed to be in Italy. All my life, I've dreamed of going to Italy. But there's a change in the flight plan. They've landed in Holland, and you must stay. The important thing is that they haven't taken you to a horrible, disgusting, filthy place full of pestilence, famine, and disease. It's just a different place. So you must go out and buy new guidebooks. You must learn a whole new language, and you will meet a whole new group of people who you would have never met. It's just a different place. It's a slower pace than Italy, less flashy than Italy. But after you've been there for a while and you catch your breath, you look around and you begin to notice that Holland has windmills, and Holland has tulips. Holland even has Rembrandts. But everyone you know is busy coming and going from Italy. And for the rest of your life, you will say, Yes, that's where I was supposed to go. That's what I had planned. But if you spend your life mourning the fact that you didn't get to Italy, you may never be free to enjoy the very special, the very lovely things about Holland. So my hope is that O-Block can provide the comfort and support for all of our families, but especially for the ones who've landed in Holland. So Mrs. Amanda Duffy, would you please come up as a parent and a partner?
I'm Amanda Duffy. I have two small kids, Aubrey, who is at O-Block, and then Nolan, who is at Pivic. Like I said when I wrote the nomination for Miss B and I talked to WTAE about, we were very scared coming into school. Again, my daughter, who was mainly nonverbal at the time, couldn't communicate her needs with us. She can't tell us at the end of the day, Mom, I had a great day at school, or we learned this and we learned that. So we rely heavily on the communication with the teachers and with the administration as well too. Miss B has, we call Miss B, but Mrs. Billingsley has been absolutely amazing. And so has the administration at O-Block, I will say as well too. They celebrate her accomplishments with us. You know, if we have concerns or we need anything, they reach out and they tell us. We talk to them. If we have questions, quickly answered. And again, they celebrate her accomplishments. She is thriving at O-Block because of the autism support program that they have. And again, that classroom is absolutely amazing. I don't know if any of you have special needs children, have had to deal with IEPs or deal with outside therapies or anything like that. It's a lot. But this school has been absolutely amazing in supporting us and supporting my daughter. And I hope that they continue this autism support classroom and actually continue it on to older grades as well too. So, thank you.
Hi, friends. Hi, Fred. What's your name? My name is Miss Aubrey. Aubrey. Aubrey Duffy. You do it. I do. You say my name is Aubrey Duffy. Aubrey Duffy.
So I'm obviously Mrs. Billingsley, and that was Aubrey Duffy, but I just wanted to say thank you to everyone. Obviously, if Plum never hired me, I wouldn't be here today. Specifically, I'm a little emotional, but specifically Mrs. Sedlak, I said to her in one of my many interviews 3.5 years ago, I just need someone to take a chance on me, and I promise you, I will not prove you wrong, I'll prove you right. And thankfully, Plum chose me, and I'm so thankful to this day. Sorry, I'm trying not to cry. But I just truly wanted to thank everyone for it, especially Maria. If it wasn't for Maria, there's been lots of tears in her office, good and bad. But because of her continued support, I really am thriving, and it's because of her. And I really love what I do, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone that came in for the recognitions this evening. You're welcome to leave at this time unless you'd like to stay for the rest of the meeting.
All right, this time I'd like to open the floor to citizens' comments on agenda items.
If anybody in the audience would like to make a comment on an agenda item, we ask that you step up to the podium one at a time, state your name, your residency within Plum, and you will be given 5 minutes to speak. Please direct your comments to the presiding board officer. This is a time for you to share comments, suggestions, concerns, as opposed to a question and answer session with the board. I will give you a 30-second warning and have the time on the monitor so you can keep track of your own time as well. When you're finished, we ask that you step to the clipboard at the end of the table and put your name on that so I spell it correctly for the minutes. Is there anybody that would like to speak at this time? Okay, Mr. Devine, back to you.
Thank you. Personnel, Dr. Anderson, lead board liaison.
Yeah, we discussed most things in executive session, but the one item on for discussion is Ms. Kraniak, our HR manager, being able to go to the PA School Personnel Administrators Annual Conference. And I think we can't say enough good things about what she does for us. So I think this conference will be good for her continued education. Anything else you'd like to add?
She brings back a wealth of PDE information.
Yeah. Any questions or concerns? Do we have 5 to move it forward? All right, thank you.
All right, student achievement and activities, Dr. Anderson, lead board liaison.
Yep, I have a form. So first we have grants and donations. If you can see those, obviously some more nominal and others, number 6, Ms. McPherson and Bassong awarded the drone package valued at $10,000 from Patton. So always teachers and staff doing an awesome job bringing in money. Any questions or concerns about those? Do we have 5 to move them forward? Thank you. And then we have our TV production resources. Mr. Laletta?
Yes.
Yep. Thank you.
Just to keep the board informed, TV production is under ELA, but when we did the ELA adoption, it was K-12, and it's probably the largest adoption as a district that we would undertake. But we didn't want to hold off until a later time where we would have the resources in order to look at that space and add significant improvements, not only for our students, but for the product that comes out of that class and for the teachers. So Mr. Oletta.
Yeah. So like Dr. Walsh said, at the tail end of last year, we were able to get some of the resources for the students for the TV studios production. I know you know all of the curriculum we were able to implement across the district, just with the music resources, with art, and in our high school and middle school auditorium. So TV studio at the beginning of this year, we're trying to finalize, and what you see on the recommendation there is the IMAX to support the Avid software that our students use to edit the videos. A lot of things on there, you'll see different cables, a mini TriCaster, just items that have been end of life that really need replenished and need refreshed. And then as we continue to move forward, we'll follow that ELA curriculum cycle just to refresh these so they're not being left behind, and we're making sure that we're updating all the resources for each area.
I appreciate that. There's no secret that I love the Make-A-Wish telethon. I think it's pretty open. But all kidding aside, I remember talking to Mr. Brott right before Make-A-Wish, something crashed. He was piecemealing something else together. I don't really know. It just seemed like at one point there might have been a lot of electrical tape and a lot of maneuvering, and those kids made it look like it was seamless, as well as Mr. Brott. So I appreciate that we're doing all of this, and I think it's important to... This technology changes so consistently and so rapidly that we need to keep up with it, even if it's not necessarily just along the lines of the curriculum timeline. We need to keep up with that.
Yeah, and I think you'll see if you're able to stop by, we're able to get new furniture in there, new lights, and so we'll be able to cap this one off pending this moving forward, and then re-evaluate it the next curriculum cycle.
Yeah, I think the work that they do in the telethon and the experiences they gain from it's worth every penny. And I'm kind of with Michelle, if we can keep this modern, maybe there's something new that comes out even before the curriculum cycle. I think we should stay on top of it because these kids eventually go on into these different workforces and
I would say
have access to the latest.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, 3 students came and filmed me for an interview. And it looked like the equipment they had was from when I graduated here in the 80s.
Probably was.
I mean, the camcorder was, on their shoulder, and the thought was, this obviously needs some attention. Over the last 5 years, We have hit every department in regards to upgrades. Next year, we are jumping into social studies, K through 12, and looking at the enhancements we can add to that department. And then we're going to start the cycle all over again. So in the last, well, we're on year 6 now, we have hit every department, and we're going to continue to refine and moving these departments forward with the best resources for our students.
Yeah, I know one time they used to record the school board meetings, and I even think that would be a good experience for them if
Oh,
that
it
was
was.
ever to come.
It was a good experience for them. And they
We've
did
been
it.
having some just sidebar conversations in regards, and I actually mentioned it to Mr. Barat, that, you know, looking at TV2 and TV3, you know, how can we scale what our students do, not only to football, but to other sports? You know, we have the equipment now. How can we give them these opportunities to have that voice and that experience in high school? So we are having those conversations, and I think they're great conversations to have. So.
I will say this much really quickly. During COVID, the PTO was looking for, I think we were PTA at the time. I forget which year we all switched over, but I think we were PTA. They're looking for different things that the kids could do because we couldn't go on field trips, we couldn't have people in the schools. And I was approached, well, would Dr. Terry be willing to do his dental presentation that he would do with Charlie the Happy Tooth and all these things that we have going on at the office for the different ages of kids. And Mr. Devine's kids, my son, we kept it very, very small and very tight because carefully how we did it. But Mr. Barat sent a group of students, a couple of students, I think 3 or 4 students in. We came back and edited it in the video, and it was so amazing. Terry showed it to some other dental professionals, and he's like, look at what we did during COVID, just as like a proud moment. And one of them was a rep for a really large dental company and said, well, wait a minute, who did that? And he said, well, our students in Plum did that. And he said, we couldn't get a good enough edit of anything to ever make that quality. That they wanted to know who we hired to do it. He's like, we hired nobody. They needed experience because they didn't have any events to cover. So it was like a twofold, and it worked really well. And they were like, well, who did you hire? So I think that's a true testament to what they do in that department.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Laletta, for everything you've done to move that department forward.
Do we have 5 to move that forward? Thank you. Okay, so we have a new student alternative placement MOU. Anything more to comment on?
Standard.
Yep. Do we have 5 to move that forward? Okay. And then we have the annual renewal of the Wesley Family Services Agreement for this school year. Same thing. Any questions or concerns? Do we have 5 to move it forward? Okay. And then, Ms. Sedlak, are you talking about the steering committee?
Yes.
Okay.
Our special education plan is due to Pennsylvania Department of Education by May of 2024. Mrs. Ivan is leading the charge for the special education plan. We asked the board to approve the steering committee. She has been in touch with Mrs. Wetmore, will continue to serve as the board member with community members, parents, and teachers and administrators. So we would ask that you approve this committee.
Is this committee on there, I'm not trying to say the elephant in the room, but the elephant in the room, if Ms. Wetmore isn't elected, do we need another board member on there, or are we good?
You would be the backup, Dr.
Okay, great. So that's fine.
Because you sat on the...
Yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure if we needed 2 names listed there in case I didn't want us to be out of compliance or something.
We will add you if that's...
Yeah, that's totally fine. I just wanted to make sure we didn't create a gap for ourselves. So thank you. And no bad luck to Mrs. Wetmore. Okay. So varsity baseball. Oh, I'm sorry. 5 to move that forward? My bad. Okay. Letter F, the varsity baseball annual overnight field trip to Tampa Bay for their spring break training, which will be March 12th through the 17th at no cost to the district. Questions or concerns? Do we have 5 to move it forward? Okay. And I would say I'd be remiss, one, because I know it well, but just that there are Pat McAfee funds that are being used to help support that trip as well. It's lowered the cost by probably 50% for each athlete, so it's a great support for those baseball players. as well, and an awesome trip, so. Okay, and last is the creation of the middle school boys volleyball team. Do we need any more discussion, or, any more presentation on it? Oh, Mr. Carpenter.
I don't know if Mr. Carpenter wants to add to the discussion.
You have anything to add?
No, that we would, you want me to come up there?
You can
Yeah,
just
just
speak
for-
there. We can-
okay.
Well, he's walking up, in August, I shared with this board about student voice and choice, and particularly in athletics. You know, our high school students are competing against other school districts that have larger feeder systems. So this is just the beginning of the conversation in regards to what are the opportunities that we have at the middle level for our students. And this year, it looks we were able, and I know this is a conversation that occurred before you arrived, but looking at adding the boys volleyball team. But we're also having conversations and looking at the other sports programs at the middle level and expanding those opportunities, because there's no reason we can't have a gold team and a purple team competing just like other school districts. Why would we want to limit ourselves to 5 students at the middle level participating on a boys or girls team when we could have 10 and give more of our students opportunities? So, Mr. Carpenter?
Yeah, just to add to that, I truly believe whenever I came on that one of the biggest things is that every single one of our high school sports should have a middle school sport, because a lot of times they have, they're playing in the youth, and then you want to get them on our school district teams in the middle school level pretty much to develop them. As Dr. Walsh said, a lot of our kids are getting the development stages in high school that we don't, for the middle school teams, we don't have, while the rest of the schools are developing in middle school, which puts us at a severe disadvantage. So looking to get feeder programs for all of the sports that we have at high school to the middle school, and the one that we were able to do this year was boys volleyball, just for the fact that, we have the supplies, we have a girls volleyball team at the middle school level, we have the facilities. The varsity coach and I met, we were able to kind of talk through the logistics of what we would need, and it really just made the most sense. I actually already reached out to our local athletic director organizations and have a schedule in place if we are able to approve this. So we already have a schedule. So that's not an issue. So we really, on our end, have everything ready in the works to get the season going. Just need to go out and get a coach. But besides that, speaking to our varsity coach, I know he's been an advocate of this for a few years, and really believe that we will have the numbers once we post signups at the middle school level to go ahead and pursue this pretty smoothly. So again, this is the first one that we're looking at. As I said, we're really, sorry, flies in my face, looking to get middle school team for every single varsity sport that we have. It just makes the most sense, so we're not lagging behind the other districts that do have that.
And I just want to say how refreshing it's been in conversations with you, that's your vantage point, right? That it's your vantage point is, well, hey, why don't we have this? What about this? And just looking for more opportunities for our students to get involved and to have programming available to them. And that's incredibly refreshing, and we thank you for that. So,
yeah.
So I can add, way back in 1996, I was a sophomore here. First year I played volleyball, and I didn't get to play in the freshman team because I was a sophomore at that point. But watching the freshman team play against other schools that had a middle school program, playing against kids that were in their third year, our freshmen didn't stand a chance. And by the time we had kids get to ninth grade, 2 years behind already, volleyball's losing kids to other sports that are offered at the middle school that are just sticking with it through high school. So I'm a huge advocate for this. I think this is a great addition.
any questions or concerns?
I just look forward to seeing what else you bring, and I want to say that you have been the smooth transition in this department. Consistency too, so thank you.
Appreciate it.
Do we have 5 to move it forward?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. I think that's it for me.
Thank you. Safety and Support of Schools, Mr. Adams, Lead Board Liaison.
Nothing for discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Budget and Finance, Ms. Chudowitz, Lead Board Liaison.
Budgetary items 1 through 3 is listed below. Are there any questions or concerns regarding those? Do we have 5 to move those forward? And letter B, the additional year-end budget transfers for 2022-23 is listed. Any questions? concerns, further discussion? Okay, have 5 to move that forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Forbes Road CTC, Mr. Hill, anything for tonight?
What about facilities?
No, let's go back to facilities for a second. Facilities and operations, Mr. Hill, anything for tonight?
Yeah, look, in letter A, look to purchase side-by-side Kubota with a snow plow. Any questions on that? And then B, purchase 4 maintenance sheds. Anything there? And do we have 5 to move A and B forward?
Is that just the quote, is the quote, just times 4?
The times 4.
Yeah, the quote's for 1, there's 4 at our lower level buildings.
Yeah, we got a 30% discount to buy 4.
Yeah, that's okay. I just, the quote looked as well.
Right, yeah, and I saw that too. I was like,
Yeah.
what? Those are real
Like,
cheap
those are
for
real
4.
cheap.
I was calling them up. We have 5 to, go ahead.
Just going to add on the action, we listed the total cost. So that we're just being clear with all that, yes.
Do we have 5 to move A and B forward? All right. No, I don't.
All right. Intergovernmental, myself, Plum Borough to utilize the district buses to shuttle the community members to and from the annual Christmas at Plum Creek event on November 30th. I don't believe, we don't charge for this. This is something we've done for many years now at this point.
I said we've done this for many years, but I would also like to add that we've been in conversations with the borough. Chief Conley is on the planning committee, and he's been talking to Mr. Duluth, our department leader for fine arts. Our students will be performing, our chorus, our orchestra will be performing at the event this year, and we're very excited that to have this opportunity back. So,
do we have 5 to move that forward?
We'll be using our kids to record it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Legislative, Mrs. Stepnick?
I'll do everything in one report.
All right. Policy, Mr. Caligari.
Yes, we have policy 008 to review and discuss. Ms. Sedlak and I sent this out to the board in advance so everybody can get an opportunity to review it. But I'll turn it over to Dr. Walsh because he's the one who's implementing some of the changes to the administrative structure. So I'll let him explain.
So thanks, Mr. Caligari. Ms. Macro, would you mind, can you pull that up on the screen? If you look at our previous organization chart, or I should say our current organization chart below, what I will tell you is that I had a front row seat over the last 5.5 years as the assistant and the deputy superintendent in regards to operations. And I had an opportunity to interact with all of the departments. And the recommendations on the, if you can scroll to the recommendations in front of you, I think if you compare the two, I think it's clean. And it not only is it clean, I think it separates, you know, governance from operations. You look at where the school board is. The school board has one employee. That employee is me. And I am the one that oversees operations within the district. But if you also look at where I think it becomes cleaner, the policies that you approve have superintendent or designee. All 3 people, Ms. Sedlak, Dr. Boyers, and Mr. Manzer, all 3 of them, all 526 of our employees, one way or another report to them. So this layer was created in regard to designee. I think this board has heard me say that I'm looking to unleash the talent in this district. And not everything needs to come to the superintendent level. So this makes it clean where I have an advisory group that I meet with every other week. If you look at the next level, which is the cabinet, these are all the directors that oversee the departments or principals. So when you look at this, I believe not only is it a cleaner workflow, of how processes should follow, but I also believe it's a better channels for communication. When we have the best of intentions that when things go well, we really don't care a lot, but when things don't go according to plan, I believe that this chart really lays out a roadmap to where it should be addressed and who is ultimately responsible and how it works through that process. I think that's been somewhat confusing for community members, and I've actually had conversations about pushing out information if under satisfy our customers and community, that there needs to be communication that, hey, if things aren't going according to plan, here's the process. Here's who you should contact first. I believe this organization chart leads to that. As board members, you live in the community, some of you have children in the community. When you hear things from residents and things aren't going well, I believe this chart also helps us address those issues. Because when a board has the question, it should come to me, but I also believe it should go to Dr. Boyers, Mr. Manzer, and Ms. Sedlak. Ms. Sedlak and Dr. Boyers are also commissioned officers. Mr. Manzer is our CFO. We are the ones that are assigned to the board agendas in regards to working with the liaisons. And if information is working around us, we can't fix it. So what this chart does is set up processes so we can work on continuous improvement. What is not on this chart, and it's something that I shared with this board early on, is being transparent in regards to what's going on here. You know, making sure that you have the information in a timely manner so that you can make decisions. I think one of the first things I said is, I'm not happy with the process myself, and I planned on changing it. This is just another step in that. I think all of you know that board agendas have been released at least 5 days in advance that you have them. You can have thoughts and have conversations, and you're not doing it the day of the meeting. And that is a result of the reorganization that has taken place as our administrative team. In the past, we were having superintendent's meetings, cabinet meetings, MST meetings, and it was, in conversations, it was somewhat confusing. We have streamlined that process that on Thursdays, especially the Thursday before the board meeting, we have a cabinet meeting with everybody in yellow in the advisory group, and we finalize the board agenda. Everybody has a voice in regards to what goes on that agenda. We also have that advisory, which meets the Monday before board meetings. That's where we're really looking at those executive session items and gathering last minute details to keep you informed. Okay, this organization chart, I believe, addresses workflow and communication. I believe it's clear. There are not any additional personnel that were added. We work within the existing structures. And my hope is that this board will move it forward, because I think if you compare the two, it's a lot easier to have an understanding of where the work goes and how it flows. So, and any questions?
No, I think I think it looks great. I think it's very streamlined, and I think process driven from that perspective, and able to, I think, create efficiencies, which is what you're saying, and remove some confusion. So
right, and I think many times people in the community come to us, and I think in the past it was, they keep circumventing, and they're going to, well, sure, there's still some of that will go on no matter what, but I also think there's confusion on who am I supposed to go to with this topic or this issue. And the last organizational chart was not exactly readable and understandable in that sense. But I think this is much more simple of, this is where you go. Or, hey, I'll introduce you to that person, which is fine, or I will bring that to where I bring it to, but it still needs to go to whatever individual is in charge of that. But I think for the community, it's even better for them to see how it sort of flows, right?
Yep.
So, and again, I think to some level people were confused.
Okay.
All right, we have 5 moving forward.
You have 5.
And Adam's phone.
All right, sounds good, thank you.
All right, equity and inclusion, Ms. Wetmore's not here tonight. Community engagement, outreach, and development, Ms. Stepnick. All right. All right, we're gonna move into the action meeting. Number 1, recommend approval of the following minutes as listed below.
On behalf of the board, I'll make that recommendation.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion passes. I do not have a president's report for tonight. Superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Devine. I just have a couple just acknowledgements. First, the Lunch Lady Challenge. I just wanted to congratulate Mrs. Kriegel. That was a fun opportunity. I think the whole district was engaged with it. But it's not only Ms. Kriegel, it's everybody who works in our food service staff. Something I think it gets lost is, you know, we're focused on teaching and learning, but there's a large operational piece to keeping this district running. Our food service serves about 450,000 meals every year. And sometimes I think people don't realize that we run probably the largest restaurant in the borough. So I just wanted to congratulate them. Also, Mr. Caligiuri asked me a question which I thought I would address in my report, that the state provided universal free lunch. And what does that mean for Plum, and where were we before and where are we at now? Last September, about 11% of our students were eating breakfast. With the universal free lunch, that has moved up to 23%. So more than twice our students are enjoying breakfast in the morning. So I also wanted to take a look at what did that mean before and after COVID. And it's roughly the same numbers that right before COVID, we served about 7,400 lunches. This September, we served 16,466 lunches. Or I'm sorry, breakfast, I'm sorry. And Ms. Grigel planned to continue the increase, offering a second chance breakfast, grab and go at various levels. And she's working with the building administrators to expand this program. It's a great opportunity for our students. I would also encourage everybody to consider nominating the 2025 Pennsylvania Teacher of the Year. The Teacher of the Year program celebrates excellence in teaching and honors individuals who have made outstanding contributions to young people across the Commonwealth. Applications will be accepted to December 15th. I think we saw Mrs. Billingsley earlier tonight. I shared with this board last month, I visited every classroom at the K-4 levels. I'm starting at the middle level. We have outstanding teachers in this district. And if I would encourage our community or anybody internally, if there's a teacher that you feel made a difference with your child's life, please consider nominating them. We already have a few that nominations that we have received. So we're looking forward to more. I also want to remind everybody that parent-teacher conferences are scheduled for Monday, November 6th. Also, school will not be in session on Election Day, November 7th. That is obviously due because the election polls will be in our schools. That was a shift, and it was a recommendation that came out of safety and security. That having conferences on the day of the election, we felt like our buildings, we could not secure them. So that shift, we believe, is a positive move, that Monday is now conferences and Tuesday is a day off for our students and our faculty, and everybody is welcome to join us for election. Something that the district has also done over the years is Veterans Day. Veterans Day is Saturday, November 11th. On the Friday before, we're going to celebrate and honor our veterans. Our JROTC has done an outstanding job every year of putting on a performance to recognize our POWs and our MIAs, and they do they have a presentation with a table and all the symbolism that goes on around that. We've been having conversations internally and with the borough to open up our doors and invite our veterans in for the celebration and offer them time to join us for breakfast afterwards. We're also going to live stream it so that the community can see the good things that are happening in the district. I'm very excited about this because every graduation when we ask the veterans to stand, I am always amazed by how many veterans live in this community. And I think it's a nice opportunity to open our doors, invite them in, and honor and celebrate them on that day. And finally, I am excited about the new program at the boys' middle school. Volleyball, I think, is going to be a great opportunity, and for all of our kiddos at the middle level. And finally, it's Red Ribbon Week at the high school. I signed my pledge to be drug-free. And there's a lot of activities happening here at the high school, which maybe I think you might pick up on. Okay, that's my report.
Thank you. And I just want to say the lunch ladies got gypped. I listened to that, and the two of the judges didn't like spicy food, so. Moving on, student representatives report.
Yep. Okay, so to start off with the distinguished alumni, seniors Sophie Anderson, Haley Depcon, Amelia Faust, Kate Monick, and Therese Scullert introduced Plum's 2023 Distinguished Alumni at Oakmont Country Club on September 28th. They introduced Amy Damus McShay, Mark Gorman, Colonel Joseph Grubich, Crystal Hall, and Jasper Bannitz. All of their things are out in the hallway out there. You can read them. They're amazing people. The students then walked the alumni around the school the following day, and then the alumni were honored at the home football game that night. Moving on to the October Mustangs of the month, the students that reflected the characteristics noted in Rachel's challenge this month were seniors Jack Tondrell and Kate Joyce, juniors Liliana Davis and Noah Lander, sophomores Caitlin Jackson and Callie Stone, freshmen Henry Arlett and Jacob Callaghan, and staff member Miss Lina Fazzini. I think that's how you say her name. Moving on to the homecoming. The pep rally that happened October 6th, where our fall sports were honored, was also when the homecoming court was announced. This year's homecoming court consisted of Addison Carnes, Allison Pastor, Taylor Stevens, Kylie Wolf, Francesca Zapata, and Sophia Russo. The involvement this year for our Spirit Week, October 9th through the 13th, was outstanding. From famous pop stars to Jersey Shore characters, iconic duos to Barbies even. There was a couple Kens, by the way. The school was preparing for the big dance. Although the Plum football team lost the homecoming game, the 13th, the attendance was still in record numbers. Alumni from the band and cheerleaders were in attendance, and the court was honored at halftime. Sophia Russo, who was escorted by quarterback Sean Franzi, was crowned homecoming queen. The homecoming dance was then held on October 14th from 7 to 10 p.m., and the dance had wonderful music and had a great turnout. Moving on to the National Honor Society. NHS is hard at work for fundraising. The NHS is hard at work fundraising for Rustic Ridge and the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Last weekend, members volunteered to help out at the Halloween parade that was held here. The members ran shifts between the hours of 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And set up game booths. They had a good time. They all helped out. Members are also performing an 11th period competition this October, where all the classes are donating money to Rustic Ridge. The two classes who raise the most money will receive a catered lunch from either Chick-fil-A or Moe's, and the third class gets a pizza party. They are hosting a dinner at Pugliano's on Wednesday, November 8th, for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. All of the board members, administrators, staff, NHS members, and TV3 students have been invited and are encouraged to attend. Powder Puff. As I mentioned in the last meeting, the annual Junior and Seniors Girls Powder Puff game will take place on November 6th at 7 p.m. Practices have been held for juniors and senior girls that are playing. Student government and NHS will be using Powder Puff to raise money for multiple different organizations that members are determining. Members of both have also been getting sponsors for the event, and not to toot our own horn, but us seniors, we're pretty confident. The annual fall play will be held in the auditorium November 16th and 17th. The cast will be performing One Stoplight Town, which is about a small town with multiple storylines surrounding the idea of slowing down and enjoying life. Sport and athlete accomplishments. Girls volleyball won against Penn Hills this past Thursday, finishing the section 9-3. They will be playing in the playoffs later this week. Girls slow pitch softball placed second at their WPISL tournament this past weekend, ending their season on a high note.
Boys soccer got first in the section and have a first seed in the playoffs. On Saturday, they played Charters Valley at home and won 5-1. Girls soccer also got first in the section, but had a second place seed in playoffs. On Monday, they played Kiski at home and won 6-1. Moving on. Boys and girls cross country competed in tri-states this past Thursday. Everyone on the team got personal records. Senior Gabe Powell placed 16th for the men, and freshman Mara Smith placed 48th for the girls. The team will be competing in whips in 2 days, so good luck to them. Junior Wes Lorish, as he was announced earlier, tied for second individually at PIAA States at Penn State. And seniors Tristan Ralph was honored as Boys Soccer Class 3A Section 4's Player of the Year. Junior Garrett Chandler and seniors Tyler Uriznik, Travis Codman, and Owen Zaleski also got Boys All Section. Finally, student feedback. Moving on with also the lunch ladies, the students are a big fan of the hot deli section in the cafeteria. It's not all spicy food, well, don't worry. This is essentially a second main lunch option that the lunch ladies are serving. It gives more variety and shortens the time people have to wait in the lines for food. That's all I got.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll be doing a consent by section agenda tonight. So as we get to each section, the board liaison, you can make the motion for the vote and then give a report at the end. Personnel, Dr. Anderson, recommend approval to accept and resolve the following 1 to 7 as listed.
On behalf of the board, I'll make that recommendation.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion passes.
Only report I have is just to thank Ms. Sedlak and Ms. Kraniak. I just think our HR department is knocking it out of the park right now and appreciate the efficiencies and just the organization that's happening. So thank you.
Thank you. Student achievements and activities, Dr. Anderson, recommend approval to accept and resolve the following 1 to 7 as listed.
On behalf of the board, I'll make that recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion passes.
I think they give an awesome report tonight on student achievement and activity.
All right, for those that don't know, back in the 80s when Dr. Walsh was here, he was also with the middle school volleyball team. He was a stud himself at volleyball, just so you all know.
And at Penn State, so
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right, safe and supportive schools, Mr. Adams, the board liaison.
Yeah, quick report, obviously nothing to vote on. But, all right, officers have begun their classroom safety presentations, and the valuable information they have been sharing with our students and staff has been well received so far. To continue to foster a culture of kindness and safety in our schools, challenge points have been distributed to our school police officers, empowering them to recognize students who embody the virtuous qualities identified by Rachel's challenge. By rewarding acts of kindness, prioritizing safety, and going above and beyond to assist others, our officers aim to inspire and celebrate the remarkable actions of our students. And then finally, the district is actively collaborating with the Healthcare Coalition of Southwestern Pennsylvania, as well as Plum EMS, to organize an emergency response tabletop with a focused emphasis on student reunification. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Budget and Finance, Ms. Chudowitz. Recommend approval to accept and resolve budgetary items 1 and 2 as listed below.
On behalf of the board, I'll make that recommendation.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Ms. Macker, I'll be abstaining from the line in the budget that reflects my father's paycheck. Motion passes. Anything to report tonight?
I just have a quick report. The Finance Department is continuing to finalize the 2022-2023 audit results report, which will be presented at the budget workshop along with the budget workshop in December. And that is all I have.
Thank you. Facilities and Operations, Mr. Hill, the board liaison, recommend approval to accept and resolve the following 1 and 2 as listed below.
On behalf of the board, I accept that recommendation.
I'll make the recommendation.
It's been 4 years. Figured.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain?
And
Motion
Tori,
passes.
he only got a pin.
No, I just want to thank the facilities team. I know we've had some water main breaks that they've addressed in the very late hours to get the school open on time, or we didn't have to go virtual day. So I want to thank all of their efforts in making sure that our kids can come into school and the work that they've done. So thank you.
I think Mr. Finney has had some very late nights.
All right, Forbes, excuse me, Forbes Road CPC, Mr. Hill, anything to report tonight?
Yeah, I'm just going to read a post off of their Facebook
media.
post, this thingy here. A room full of happy nominees and winners were recently had the Challenge Program Incorporated Assembly, where our sponsors Forbes, Hospital, PJ Dick, Trumbull, and Lindy Group gave out awards to students based on the 22-23 school year. Students were challenged to rise up in the areas of attendance, academic excellence, academic improvement, community service, and STEM. We had a lot of nominees, but only 10, 5 juniors, 5 senior students walked away with a $200 check for their accomplishments. And we actually had 2 Plum students. The first one is Leilani Nichols in health science, and the second Plum student is Miley O'Toole, also in health science. So congratulations to them. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Intergovernmental, myself, recommend approval for Plum Borough to utilize district buses to shuttle community members to and from the annual Christmas at Plum Creek event on November 30th, 2023.
Second.
Well, so I need to make the recommendation. I don't think I can.
On behalf of you, I make that recommendation.
Thank you.
For the board. But I can't second it now.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion passes. Don't have a report for tonight. We were supposed to have a meeting 2 weeks ago, and last minute they had asked us if we could reschedule. So we are waiting to just have that rescheduled date to meet with them, and then hopefully next month I'll have a report. Policy, Mr. Caligiuri, Lead Board Liaison, recommend approval to accept and resolve revised policy 008 organization chart.
On behalf of the board, I'll make that recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion passes. Anything to report tonight?
Just to say that Mrs. Stepnick, Mrs. Charlowitz, and the administration is keeping an eye on the final education budget to see if there might be any policy updates that come with that. And we'll all bring it to the board if we hear anything.
All right, thank you. Equity and Inclusion, Ms. Wetmore is not here tonight. Ms. Sedlak, is there anything for tonight?
Just that Rachel's Challenge September activities are outlined on the website under Rachel's Challenge, and the Equity and Inclusion website has a variety of information on it as well. We are listing all of the monthly events, holidays, and special days in that section of the website.
Thank you. And I just realized I skipped Mrs. Stepnick, Legislative. Anything to report tonight?
No, I said I'd do it all at once, so it doesn't really matter. I'll start with the community engagement so I don't forget, because I did actually have a lot to share with everybody after Kalahari and some budget updates. The Plum Chamber, I did miss their dinner last night. I feel like, I don't know what happened to October, but anyway. They are having their casino night from 6 to 10 on Saturday, November 18th at the Church of Christ of Divine Shepherd Parish. Should be a fun time if you're looking for something fun to do or a fun date night or an office event. I would get in touch with Mary Beth Tedrick about that and some sponsorships. So on to the conference and PSBA and budgets and all kinds of things. To Mr. Caligiuri's point, there was a lot of conversation about this large chunk of money that still is being negotiated today. Like there's not a lot going on with it. Many of us board directors, through various conversations, were saying with PSBA members as well, like, hey, if they had just put a sunset date on this in the courts, maybe they would be figuring out what to do with this money. But Like our legislators have told us, this is going to take a couple of years at minimum to make a determination on what to do. So there is nothing new. Really, the debate is been, and it is on, how to deal with cyber charter reform, because that is a low-hanging fruit that now cannot be ignored. So hopefully, as they continue conferencing about the endless conversation regarding the rest of this budget, we get some better news, I'm hoping. I spent 3 days of last week, and I told some board members, talking about trauma-enforced trainings and trauma-enforced responses with our students, and how mental health has really become the forefront of conversation at districts, not just here in Pennsylvania, but statewide, or across the country. And one thing that they hammered home on, which I thought was interesting, was you need to have your bus drivers go through that training. You need to have your safety and security personnel go through that type of training. And we do a really good job here in Plum of doing that, but it was something to bring back to the conversation of, let's not forget every level of employees that are interacting with our students, because sometimes, especially the bus drivers, they are the first ones to see the kids, and they're the last ones to see them at the end of the day. So they may see something or pick up on something that's transpired. But there was a lot of conversation about that. Dr. P. from Franklin Regional talked about a coaching program that they're doing in Westmoreland County for all their superintendents to talk more about longevity and how to have a succession of trained superintendents and administrative personnel in general, because the lifespan of a superintendent on average in the school district in all of Pennsylvania is 3 years. That is the average lifespan, right? You're staying way longer. But the average is 3 years. So the turnover is really high. And how do they come together as a collaborative effort and work together to coach each other through the challenges and really be ready for who would come behind? So that was a very interesting conversation. I also sat through a construction and planning, because there's no secret here. We're looking at these major projects with O-Block and the middle school. And one thing I did talk to Mrs. Chudowitz, and I did speak to Mr. Caligiuri about it, was that one district that presented, and I like the idea, and Mr. Manzer, you might like this because we're always asking to spend money, that they have a board policy that 5 to 8% of their budget is put aside annually, that will be in their fund balance at all times, no matter what. And they found that it's helping them with their interest rates for whatever they're borrowing. And of course, it helps with bond rating, which we know we've been working on in this district to continue bringing back up, which we had great news, but it could always get improved. So I thought that was good for future conversation, whether it be policy or finance, and what that would look like. Also regarding the budget, conversation was going on about what are they doing with Election Day, and how is that going to impact how we vote on our budget and how that timing would work, because if we were to ever go for a referendum, they say if, that's every district in the Commonwealth, you were to go for a referendum, you'd have to back time that many days to vote on your budget to get it on the ballot. So a lot of districts were trying to understand what that's going to mean, and in Harrisburg, they don't really know what that means. So we have that going. Hopefully, we all encouraged, and even on our day on the Hill, when we talked to our legislators, and I talked to them individually, was you've got to figure out this out and make a decision, because we have to plan, and we plan, within a year. And another conversation was on literacy and how students in the middle school and high school years are still behind from COVID. And how do we bring up that MTSS time into those various grade levels, and what does that look like? Because maybe it's not MTSS specifically, but what are we doing to keep the K-12 literacy going? And on that note, I did run into our rep from Renaissance, who does the accelerated reader. And I asked him how much it is a student. He said it's $7 a student. I would love us to implement that, because what they do at Holiday Park with that AR challenge with the kids promotes reading, but on their reading level. And it allows them to keep increasing their reading level. And there's challenges, and it's fun, and it's a game. And I think for the few dollars that it is, it's really worth it to do K-12, K-8 maybe, especially considering those kids are still behind. And last but not least, PSBA has an in-house training, and I've been to their facility a lot of times, so I didn't know where it was. It's their whole basement, 5,000 square feet of a training facility for safety and security scenarios that you may have within your school district or within your community. And it's free, and they're training districts all over the state of Pennsylvania. And again, it's free, it's a resource, and there's a variety of scenarios that they could present to you, or we could ask for help. So I think that's it. I mean, if there's more, I'm sure, because it was a long 3 days, and at one point my brain can only sit through so many. And I'm like, I want to know this, and I'm going back through, okay, I'll go through that PowerPoint, because I can't get that presentation in. But, and there was a lot of opportunity to talk to vendors and see new information that's out there. It was great to see B3 Solutions. They're talking about our local company here in Plum, their safety technology they have for our buildings. And I'd like to see us go back out and look at that as well. But it was really cool to see them there. But again, just learning the different technologies that are out there for construction and a variety of things. I came back and met with Rick for an hour, and we went through a lot.
You gave a lot of resources.
I did, and you all got a pin. So I came back with more than pins. But
All right, thank you. At this time, I'd like to open the floor to citizens' comments on non-agenda items.
Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make a comment on non-agenda items at this time?
come on, Mark, we challenge you. Speak.
Mark Stropkin, 137 Willow Village Drive. Just a couple comments. I mean, it might be related to what was in the agenda, but we passed approval tonight for a resignation of 2 positions. I'm assuming that'll be in the minutes, so anybody watching at home or was sitting here doesn't know what those positions are. It just says director and manager. So hopefully that'll be in the minutes, just so the public is up to date. Another comment, we had a teacher get recognized by the WTAE. I think that's wonderful. I think a lot of teachers don't get recognized for what they do, especially special ed. It's a tough job. My wife spent 10 years working at a school doing preschool for learning disabilities. It's tough. It's a lot of work, a lot of time and energy. But to be recognized, we recognize sports teams, people win a WPAL, all this, but a lot of teachers go unrecognized for what they do. And I have multiple family members that are teachers, so kudos, because it's a lot of work. Not just here during the day, but when you go home and you're doing lesson plans for 6, 7, 8 hours on the weekend and so forth. So good to see that. And the last was on the TV production. I'm glad you guys approved that. It's a great program. Mr. Brott does a wonderful job. I have a junior. He's involved. Thinks it might be a career he wants to get into. So I'm glad that we do that here. It's very positive. Mr. Brott does a wonderful job taking these people under his wings, boys and girls, filming high school games, soccer, the telethon, you name it. I mean, we can get them some drones someday with cameras on them. Seriously, I mean, that's where it's heading.
Yeah, it is.
So maybe next year's budget. So it'd be good. Yeah, he does a wonderful job. So just to recognize that. I know it was on the agenda, but you had to hear from somebody tonight. I know I'm hungry too, but I'm coming straight from work. But thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Devine, back to you.
Thank you. Upcoming public meetings, discussion meeting on Tuesday, November 14th, 7 o'clock here in the library, and then action voting meeting Tuesday, November 28th at 7 o'clock here in the library. I would now like to call the meeting adjourned. Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
So mad about recognizing.
Yeah.
So early, so we can run the camera and not have to do anything else. So that he went out the other day for an hour. I don't do that. Okay, so one day, at school, ready to go.
Oh, no.
Have a good night. Huh?
Hey, the more you save, then you can get to that money gets further and all that stuff. Yeah, it's good.
For the phone.
I'm just gonna smile and say.
Well, it used to be before.
Yeah, it doesn't change. Very rare we get people out.
We'll get this.
Yeah, right.
You know what they're saying again, and it's like, oh, man, I'm like, let's sing it all together, let this thing go. You know, like, I didn't do this.
I hear you.
Well, look at you, you're all trained. Get out!
I know, right? Yeah. Messy.
We need more.
We
need some more.
Yeah.
You did a letter of recommendation for, you just tell me what it is, and sort of things you're involved with.
Thank you. All right, have a good night, guys.
Yeah. He's really good at sport. He's a really good sport. He has a pretty good background in it. They also have a really good class.
I want to do like a historical awesome. Google.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
Doesn't matter.
They're in the back office.